Okay. Awesome. Well, we'll do an intro then. So welcome to the Hometown Huddle podcast. This is an exciting episode for us here because we actually have some guests on today. So some really special guests, some of our finest athletes here in Royal who are kind of just getting towards kind of the playoff season of their sport here, and a sport that some of us are not as familiar with, and so we're pretty excited to kind of learn a little more about it. And so we have here with us Madi and Hali Christensen and their dad, Mark Christensen. So big round of applause. If you're riding in your car, go ahead and clap for them at home. But thanks, guys, for coming on. We appreciate you taking the time to jump on here with us. This is our first time doing a guest, so hopefully it's good. Hopefully we're not too awkward of interviewers. And I'm just realizing I didn't even open up the right thing. So we prepared a little bit ahead of time and gave sort of an outline of the episode, and I opened some assignment that I gave to my students today. So that is not what we want. But go, Madi and Hali, let's hear from you guys. Go ahead and introduce yourselves to the people here at home while I open up the right thing here. So maybe just start.
I'm Madi.
Oh, there you go. Perfect. I was going to say just what year you are in school. And your sports.
I'm Madi, and I'm a senior at Royal.
I'm Hali. I'm a freshman at Royal.
Awesome. And your sport you're playing right now, right? Is girls wrestling, correct? Do you say you play wrestling? What's the actual terminology there? Because I don't think, I play wrestling, but I don't know. Maybe I'm totally wrong because I don't know.
We can say I wrestle.
Yeah, you wrestle.
Yeah, I
okay.
wrestle.
Yeah, I wrestle. Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Let's see. So big day yesterday. Let's just get that out of the way. So yesterday, I don't know how the wrestling season. I feel like every year is a little different the way the kind of format of it works. So yesterday was the league championship. Is that correct?
Yes, it was the kind of like the team league championship.
Okay, cool.
I think it was the first one Royals ever had for girls.
Okay, that's awesome. That is way cool. And then you guys, so kind of how did it go yesterday? Because I know you guys won your matches is what I heard. I haven't been at a lot of sporting events lately with having a little baby, but walk us through kind of how it went yesterday.
Well,
what teams were there?
At 2:30, and then you kind of hang out till like 3:30, and then you warm up. And then wrestling started at 4. And then they kind of just go by weight class.
Yeah.
And so you just have to wait for your weight class.
Okay.
Mr. Miller was able to run the wrestling thing, and I guess he has some program that qualifies him to run the matches.
Okay.
But yesterday took forever. And I only had like 2 other girls in my bracket, and I waited 3 hours to wrestle. So it took forever just to like be able to wrestle for me.
Yeah, you're like, okay, there's just the 3 of us in this. We could probably knock this out pretty quick. But yeah.
I know.
So my wrestling experience was just in middle school when I was in Idaho. And that's what I remember. I remember you'd have these big, the duels or whatever. You'd go to a big tournament and you'd be sitting in the bleachers for like hours and hours. And this was before we had phones. So you just maybe read a book or something. You couldn't get on TikTok or Instagram. So it was kind of rough. But so Hali, how long did you have to wait? Were yours a little quicker getting started?
Mine? It was like I wrestled 2 hours. So I wrestled at like 6:30, something around there.
Oh, man. Yeah.
My first match, and then at like 8, I wrestled my second match.
Okay. And you just had the 2. So you're there for...
Yeah.
That's a long time. That's crazy. Mentally, do you guys feel like that's tough going into that, like having to wait a long time? Or is it kind of nice just having the downtime to kind of relax? What's your feeling in between there? Are you tense? Are you relaxed? How are you feeling during those waits?
I get really nervous. Since I'm like in the heavyweight class, I usually wait a long time, and I just feel like the nerves just like build up, and you're just like watch everyone else wrestle, and you're just like waiting for your time. I don't know.
Yeah.
Especially like not having a set time. It's kind of hard because you just like are super nervous and you don't know. It's not like a basketball where you start at 7:30. Like the game's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Just like you're kind of waiting, and usually you don't really know who you're gonna wrestle, but like you don't know the person. I don't know. It's just a lot different from the other sports. Where like I don't know. I just am a little less nervous because I know what I'm going against. But wrestling is just like a whole new ball game every time.
Yeah, that is tough. You bring that up of like, okay, these other matches in front of you could go really quick or they could take a long time. It's not like, okay, cool, it's 6:30, I got a half hour to the game, I can get into it. It's like you kind of have to be on edge for a while. That's pretty crazy. So Maddie, this is your first year wrestling in high school, is that right?
Yes.
Okay. And did you wrestle in middle school at all?
No.
So this is your kind of
This is
first time into it.
Yeah, I think I've been wrestling for like a month and a half.
Okay, that's crazy. That's awesome. And then Hallie.
So I joined late in the season.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
So Hallie, I know just being around the middle school, I know our middle school girls wrestling program, at least for the last few years, has been really good. And it's kind of, this is at the middle school, you're like, there's these girls in your class as a teacher, and they're like kind of tiny and just like sweet girls, and they like help you around the class and stuff. And then we have these assemblies, and Mr. Orth gets up there and he's like, this girl's an absolute savage on the mat. She had like 500 pins and she made a bunch of girls cry. And I'm like, what is going on? It's like every girl in the school. Like the girls wrestling program is crazy. So did you, Maddie and Hallie, both going into the winter, did you both know you were going to wrestle? Were you kind of set on it, or was it sort of spur of the moment decision?
I was debating between wrestling and basketball for like a very long time.
Mm-hmm.
And then I kind of just decided to do wrestling because I was like, I don't love basketball.
Yeah.
And like the girls in the class below me love it. And I'm not very good at it. And so coaches just told me I'd be good at wrestling. So I kind of just decided wrestling.
Okay. Awesome.
Yeah.
And then Maddie,
But
what was your decision?
You did wrestle in middle school though, Hallie? Did you?
Yeah, I wrestled in middle school.
Okay.
Yeah, because I remember that. Your group of girls, too, it was like, man, there's a bunch of girls wrestlers that are crazy. Like, good. And also nice. Not crazy, like crazy bad. Like, they were great in class and, like, fun to have. And sweet girls, like, would help you out with, like, picking up garbage when the boys would, like, trash the classroom. And then it's like, oh, man, but there are savage wrestlers out there. So, Maddie, you said you joined the season a little bit late. What was your decision-making process going in? Because I know you've played basketball before. Did you play last year?
No, I didn't play my junior. I just played my freshman and sophomore year.
Okay.
My decision this year is super spontaneous,
Yeah.
not planned at all.
Mm-hmm.
Hallie told me that they needed a stats girl, so I went to like one wrestling match. I watched it, and I like watching wrestling. Like I watched Hallie in her middle school years, and I thought it was super cool. And I was like really proud. I was like, oh, this is so cool. Like she's doing wrestling, and then I showed up to one practice after because Carlos told me like just come out to one practice. And I came out, and I really liked it. I was like, why not? Senior year, just go for it. So
Yeah.
That is awesome. That is cool.
Yeah, that's nuts. I didn't realize that was kind of how you came into it. So let's rewind a little bit. So let's kind of get your athletic background in general, kind of paint a picture for people. So, Maddie, I guess we can go with you first. So your other sports you play in high school, tell us a little bit about those.
So I play volleyball and tennis. Those are super non-contact sports.
Yeah.
I was thinking
a little
about that today. Like, I think those are some of the only sports that are super non-contact. So wrestling is like totally different from what I'm used to playing.
Yeah,
But
you're used to
I
having
played
like
varsity
a
for 4 years
barrier in
volleyball.
between you and the other players, right? Like you have that net in between you. They'd have to really kind of
Yeah.
make a move if there was going to be some contact. And
There's
then,
like never no touching unless it's like high-fiving or like shaking hands during tennis, like start the match off or
Yeah.
I don't know. Like there's no contact really ever in those sports.
Yeah, so a big, kind of a huge swing. Caleb, our other brother, Caleb just joined up in the call here in the middle of this, so hopefully he has some good comments for us here in the middle. But awesome. So volleyball, and then this is just me kind of trying to remember, but you're a 4-year starter on varsity for volleyball. Is that right? Did you start when you were a freshman? Or were you on
I didn't
varsity?
start when I was a freshman, but I did play. I was a right side,
Okay.
so I came out with the setters.
Okay.
I was like in the regular rotation, I guess, to go in.
Awesome. And then I remember, so
She was in all league all 4 years, so
yeah, that's what I
Yeah.
thought. It's like
Maddie's
Maddie's
serious
being very
volleyball
humble. Oh, I kind of subbed in and out. It's like, no, like we got to let the people know. Like Maddie's been the best at that for a long time. And then I remember, because your 8th grade year was my first year teaching here in Royal, and I was trying to recruit people for golf. But you and Campbell were like, oh, I don't know, we're going to try tennis. And then that obviously has gone really well for you guys. If I, let the people a little know about that. I think last year especially, tennis, kind of tell the people about the results you guys had last year, you and Campbell in doubles, right?
Yeah, so me and my partner Campbell, we do doubles tennis, and we ended up placing 3rd last year. which is super awesome because we're kind of new to the sport too. Like we started in high school, and no one from Royal Girls Tennis that I know of has ever placed in state or like really made it far. So that was kind of awesome to kind of like put us out there and to help the other Royal Tennis girls like kind of look out for us now. Like we're not just some little small school that's not good at like tennis or I don't know.
Yeah.
It was kind of a big moment for us to like kind of like put Royal Tennis out there a little bit.
Yeah, it was awesome. So some things that people might not know, 1A in some of these spring sports, especially like tennis and golf and a few others, even soccer, like they're really dominated once you get to the final rounds by some of these private schools. And it's kids, I think especially in tennis and golf, they don't play any other sports. They do this year round because they're on this, some private schools, everything, they can travel and play tournaments all year. And so we have our kids going in that play 2 other sports. But so to go and place, and that was awesome. And I believe you guys lost, it was in the semifinals to the girls that eventually won the state title. Is that correct?
Yeah, they're from Overlake. They beat our boys in soccer. It was a little rough.
Yeah. And I think
For
they
this super rich private school.
Yeah, and they ran away with the girls' golf state championship as well. So
Oh, really?
yeah. I think like the top 3 girls were all from Overlake, and so good for them. Cool. They're probably not going to listen to this, but I have my opinions on private schools. But
I think after the Maddie's tennis match at state, after the final match, the boys their soccer game was starting in a few hours, and the coaches came up to us. I think they thought Royal was a private school. They're like, "We're playing you guys in soccer right now." And where is Royal? Where?
yeah.
He was under the impression it was Royal Christian somewhere.
Yeah, it's got like Royal is one of those names where like, no, dude, it's Royal City, but it's not much of a like city really. That's what when we played Seton Catholic in the semifinals in football last year, like before the game, like I always go to like Spud's, one of the gas stations, and get a bunch of candy, and then we like eat candy on the sideline, I guess, with the players, especially when we're up by a bunch. And then there was a guy in there. He saw me and all my Royal stuff, and he's like, "Oh, are you a coach for Royal?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Dude, that's awesome." Like, he didn't know anything about it. He's like, "Where do you guys recruit from? There's kind of nothing out here." And I'm like, "We're a public school, like just whoever's here." He's like, "No way. Like, are you guys good?" And I was like, I didn't say this. But I was like, "Dude, you're about to find out here in about an hour." Like, but it's just the private school mentality. I should be nice. It just kind of drives me crazy. Like, just make your own league. Just have a private school league. But that's aside from the point. I don't know about that. That's fine. Let's be positive here. So, Hali, let's hear from you a little bit. So, you're a freshman, wrestling here, your first year in high school, but did in middle school. What other sports do you play?
I play soccer in the fall, wrestling winter, obviously, and softball in the spring.
Okay, nice. And then this year, I want to hear a little bit about soccer because I don't think this got really highlighted. But tell us a little bit about the soccer season. You were on varsity as a freshman, right?
Yes, it was. It was really fun. I loved soccer with our team. We split with Tybee, so Tybee was our biggest competition in our league,
Mm-hmm.
and ending up, we played them 3 times in a week for our last league game, and then to go into districts. Yeah, districts, and they beat us, and then we beat them one other time, and so they made it into state easy.
Mm-hmm.
But we had play 5 other games to make it into state, and our game to qualify for state was against Riverside. And it was a close game. We went into penalty kicks and everything, and both teams had been making penalty kicks, and it was the last person, and our goalkeeper saved it, and we won the shootout, so we made it to state.
Yeah.
And then at state, we kind of got destroyed.
It was kind of rough at
By
state.
another private school.
Were you
Yeah.
the 16 seeds? You had to go and play
Yeah.
number 1? Is that what happened?
That team ended up winning state, so.
So we don't. Who knows how far you guys would have gone? You know, we
Yeah.
didn't really
All
get
right,
a fair
that's
shake.
cool, though.
No, and it really is cool. And I don't bring that up to say, oh, they got destroyed at state. It's awesome for our girls soccer team. I think we made it to state a couple years ago, but it's not like we've had that many trips to state. So kind of like how Maddie was saying in tennis. And you see this in girls wrestling, you see this in our girls basketball team. Obviously, girls softball had a great couple of seasons, taking second place and then winning last year, but just kind of this growing momentum in our girls' sports at Royal High School. It's been awesome to see. I don't know how much you guys
It
know
has,
about
and
back
I
in the
think,
day,
too,
but yeah, Dad, go ahead.
well, and Hallie and Maddie are big parts of that. I mean, Hallie as a freshman, she was a big part of the soccer team, and then obviously Maddie, with her background, has been a huge part of sports and athletics. So they're both really good athletes.
Yeah. So here's
It's no
another.
surprise that Maddie can walk in as a senior
Yeah.
and be a dominant wrestler.
So this is just, a little off topic here, but a little bit. Do you guys take care of Tice there at your house, or do you guys gang up on him being the only brother?
He's always hurt. We never can.
I know
So-
that's the yeah. So obviously, I mean, our last name's the same. So Maddie and Hallie. So their dad Mark here, who's on with us, he's my first cousin, and then Tice is the one brother. So it's Maddie, and then Tice, and then Hallie, and then Kylie, and then Autumn. Right? I'm getting everybody correct. So Tice is the
Yes.
lone brother there in the family, and he plays football. So I've coached him for a few years. This year he had to be our like camera operator for the JV because he was always hurt. And every game we were like, okay, I think we're getting Tice, and then he just still had to keep recovering. So I don't know. I think I need you guys to take a little better care of him there at home so we can see him out on the football field here, soon this next year. But so for you guys wrestling. What am I trying to ask here? So I'm kind of the competition between siblings, this sibling rivalry. Do you guys feel like in a household of mostly girls, is there a lot of sibling rivalry in sports? Because I know in our house, it was the opposite. It was the 5 boys and 1 girl, and we were constantly getting in fights with each other, playing basketball outside, different things like that. What's it like in your household, sibling-wise, sports-wise? Do you guys get pretty competitive about sports and things like that, or do you fight over other stuff? Because I'm guessing your dad probably has some opinions on this, what he observes, but I want to hear from you guys. What's
what they have to say.
What's the dynamic like in your house? How do you guys get along? Is there a lot of competition between siblings? We want to hear about it.
Yes, definitely a lot of competition in sports, like just a family baseball game. It gets very competitive with us.
I'd also say we do different sports, so you can never I don't know. We all try to be different, I guess. So
That's true.
there's no, it's not like we're both competing for a spot in the soccer team because we're not both playing soccer. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess that's
So,
true when you
I
think
think
about
when we play the same sport for fun, it gets competitive, but I don't feel like in high school sports.
Yeah,
So far.
it hasn't been too bad. Okay, well, that's good to hear. We hope you guys are all getting along there. So let's continue on here a little bit. So we kind of heard about some of your experiences in your other sports. But with you guys both kind of being new to high school wrestling and Maddie kind of joining in the middle of the season, what were your first impressions of wrestling? So Maddie, you said you've liked to watch it. You've been around it a little bit, watched the sport. Getting out there on the mat, what was that like for the first time, like in a live match against another girl? What was kind of your feelings going into it? And tell us a little bit about that.
My first match, I was super nervous. Someone told me she placed 4th at state, and she was super tall. And she just looked intimidating kind of to me because I was like, oh my gosh, she placed 4th at state. She probably knows what she's doing because I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
So I was just kind of out there gosh, I hope I don't get my butt kicked. And I did. I ended up beating her, but it was so hard. I came out just drenched in sweat. Carlos was pretty much carrying me off the mat because I was so exhausted.
Yep.
No, it was crazy. I was kind of thinking what did I just get myself into? This is one of the hardest things I've ever done. But
Yeah.
I'm still here, so.
Yeah. That's pretty crazy
That
That
is
first
is a great
experience.
story. That is awesome.
Huh. And so
We did find out later that girl did not place in state.
That's funny.
Someone told me that, though.
But going into
That's
that,
what
yeah.
motivated you, yeah.
And it
I'm
was
gonna
obviously
say that every time
believable.
you wrestle somebody, man.
Yeah. And where was that? Who were you guys wrestling against then?
It was our big Christmas tournament.
Okay, and
Yeah,
that
it's
one
a
is that
home
one at
tournament.
home? Okay, so that's nice. At least you kind of get the home atmosphere. a
Yeah,
little bit.
and I think she was from Okanagan
Okay, yeah.
or
Rough.
Omak or something.
Up there,
Something
those-
Greyhounds, I think.
Yeah.
She was from Okanagan.
Okanagan, Omak. They're basically the same thing. I actually did a lot of research into them. So they were founded by the same guy. I can't remember which one was first, but it was named after this guy that founded the town, and then the people all got together and voted to name it something else. So he's like, screw you guys, I'm moving, and he went to Omak and started a new town, and then they eventually voted to change that to a different name too. So, and that was in like the 1800s. Really cool history facts for everybody there. Yeah, some stuff I was looking up when I was, well, I might still write a book, but we'll see. I don't know. Stuff happens. You're like, should I write a book or should I enjoy my life? I'm not sure. Anyway, so Hali, let's hear from you here. What were your first experiences? You know, your first match. Who was it against? How did you feel? Were you nervous? Were you confident? Maybe a little of both. Tell us about it.
In high school, my first match.
No, talk about your first match in middle school.
Yeah, let's go back to the beginning because I forgot about that because you have some previous experience. So did you wrestle 7th grade? Was that your first year?
No, I wanted to, but my mom said no in 7th grade year. And so I asked her again in 8th grade year, and she let me wrestle.
Okay.
But
so how does she feel now? Now that we've got 2 wrestlers in the family, it's getting pretty serious. She doesn't like it. Maddie's giving us the thumbs down.
she hates it. She hates everything about
She
it.
gets so nervous. Like every time we get off the mat, she's like, "Come here, give me a hug." Like she's just so nervous the whole time. Like when I first joined, she was so mad. Like my first day of practice, I just got home and I just knew she was not happy with me. We sat at the dinner table and I was just like, could tell she was not happy. And one of my friends told me, because my mom subs, she's like, "Maddie, your mom told me she wants you home. She doesn't want you to go out and wrestle." And I was like, "Oh my gosh, Mom.
That is
It's
funny.
just wrestling."
Man, we
So-
should have had Marcy on
I
here.
know.
So.
Oh man,
Little do these girls know she's listening.
that's good.
Oh boy.
That's good. She can hear it. That's important. So yesterday I was trying to we were doing stuff here at home and I was like, oh yeah, that is tonight, you know, the league, you know, wrestling tournament. So I asked my wife, Cassidy, I was like, do you guys, and Lacey, she's sitting here next to me. Okay, she stopped saying anything once I put the microphone to her mouth. But I said, hey, do you guys want to go to a girls wrestling match? And I was like, no. And I'm like, well, what if Lacey wants to wrestle someday? And she said, that's too bad. She's not doing it. So we might have the similar fight here in our house someday. You can do whatever you want to do, as long as it's not dance team. No, that's a joke. I don't want to do the daddy.
Daddy-daughter dance?
Where they make the dad go out there and shake his butt around and do whatever. I'm
That's what my
good.
dad said too.
Yeah, pass. But I might not have a choice. That's okay. Let's continue here. Don't laugh too hard there, Dad. Chloe quit, so you dodged a bullet on that. So Hali, your mom didn't let you wrestle in 7th grade, but in 8th grade, were you pretty excited to do it? Were you pretty fired up?
I was excited to do it because I do not like sitting at home. I like to be doing stuff.
Yeah.
So I was not very happy not to do it in 7th grade. But we got over that. So I was really excited to do it in 8th grade because my friend had been talking about it and I was hyped up to do it. And then I convinced my friend Kylie Orth to do it with me.
Mm-hmm.
And so she did it with me. She was my partner. But my first match, I don't even know who it was against.
It was against Abby from Othello.
That was my first one. I don't think it was.
Oh, that was your first meet, though. There was a girl from
I don't know.
Othello. She's a really good wrestler. And
How did it
Hali
go?
lost to her, but her parents were pretty nervous afterward. They're like, oh my gosh, your daughter's really good. She was a girl that wrestles all year long. And then
I didn't get pinned. She beat me by points.
And then at the middle school championships, or I thought it was anyways. She dropped a weight class to avoid Hali. That's what happened. Hali beat her later in the season, and then she dropped weight classes.
Nice. That's awesome.
There you go.
And then the Waloop tournament for middle school, they bumped her up to my weight class again, and we ended up wrestling. And I beat her. I pinned her. And she was
Boom.
crying after the match.
I can imagine. Oh man, wrestling all the time.
I think she was undefeated, wasn't she?
Yeah, she had like won Little Guy State. She hadn't lost in like
Jeez.
4 years.
Wow.
Until
Like
now.
that 30.
Huh, that's crazy. And she's from Othello,
Yeah.
so she's so correct. So sorry, I'm tripping over my words here. I'm also holding the baby. Let me kind of collect myself here. For wrestling state and the different divisions, do they all have their own? So is there like a 1A, 2A, 3A like tournament, or do they combine some of the divisions?
No, it's like 4A, I think, has their own.
3A, 4A, 2A's by themselves.
Oh, yeah. 3A,
Yeah, 'cause they're
4A
pretty
combined 2A. And then all the B schools in 1A are combined for state.
Okay, cool. That's what I knew there was something there, but I couldn't remember. And obviously, we just kind of had the big like realignment thing this last year with the different school sizes and people dropping up and dropping down, which is kind of nice for us that Toppenish or whatever, because they're freaking insane. The whole town wrestles kind of moved up to 2A, so that's kind of a nice thing. Let's see here. Sorry, baby was getting a little fussier in her little sitter thing here, but she's having fun with me holding her. So going into kind of league championship. So you've wrestled throughout the season. How often do you have a wrestling match? Is it once or twice a week? Is it more than that, less than that?
It was like every Saturday, but now, like with the end of the season, it's been like twice. I think there's a couple weeks where it's been twice a week.
Usually all the big tournaments are on Saturdays, or like they're like Friday, Saturday.
Yeah. And I would
You'll
guess
have a few, like if you have duels or something, they'll be weekdays.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, and those big tournaments, I'd imagine you got to do them on a Saturday like that because it probably takes all day to get it going. If you're sitting there forever. So going into this league championship yesterday, what were your expectations as a team? Did you guys feel pretty confident you were going to be able to win it, or was it going to be kind of an uphill battle?
We were pretty confident.
Yeah, we ended up beating everyone by the closest person was 100 points away from us.
Okay.
Just really big in wrestling. So.
Yeah. I can't think of a sport where 100 points is close, so I'm glad that wrestling's the same way. So kind of preparation going into the league championship, what does that look like? So kind of your average practice, what are you guys doing? Because I feel like this is 7th and 8th grade middle school wrestling. I feel like it was like Navy SEALs training, but that was a long time ago, and I was also kind of a little kid, 7th and 8th grade. What preparation goes into a wrestling practice, for example? What do you guys do usually?
Warm-ups, and then...
Warm-ups take like 30 minutes.
Yeah. And then we go into we do a lot of like situations, so they'll like put us in situations and then teach us how to get out of them, or like just different techniques.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of like top bottom too, because like if you get to a period or something, they do a little coin flip kind of. They'll say red or green, and then you can choose if you want to start top, neutral, or bottom.
Yeah.
So a lot of times just like we're getting out of the bottom, like getting up to the top, or like how to crack someone down on top.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you're really good at escaping from being on the bottom, right, you can get escape points and different things like that. So there's some strategy to kind of pick in what you want, if I understand that right. If I'm not totally off base there.
Yeah.
How hard has it been for you guys kind of being new to the sport? I mean, relatively new, Hallie having a little more experience, learning the strategy, learning the moves. Do you feel like that's been tough, the mental side of it as far as strategy goes, or have you picked it up pretty quick?
I'm not. Well, wrestling, it's like either you want to be like really quick and shoot and stuff, or you like just depending on how your opponent wrestles. Like there's different styles to wrestling, and so like you have to learn like different ways to wrestle. I'm not very good at that. I just want to do it and get it over with and be done. So it's been hard for me to be like patient and like work stuff to get like the takedown, but it's been fine so far. I don't know. I'm not a patient person, so.
Yeah, you're kind of getting after them, getting going. What about you, Maddie? How has that, maybe not transition, but that process been for you of starting here kind of from zero and going to a league championship? That learning curve, has it been pretty tough, or do you feel like you've picked it up quick?
I feel like some things I picked up quick, but there's a lot of, wrestling, there's like so many different moves, and like how I said, there's so many different styles. And I have so many people like wanting to help me, and so there's just a lot of different opinions and advice out there on like how I should wrestle. So that's been kind of hard because I don't know, like I respect all these people and I want to like do what they think is best and like because I don't know anything about it, so I'm trying to like learn all these different ways to wrestle and a lot of different moves. But it's just kind of hard like finding what works best for me. But usually picking up and throwing people is kind of my thing. So
There we go. Yeah,
that's kind of what I try to stick to.
yeah. I've seen some of your Instagram stories, and I was very impressed. That was awesome. And I like what you said there. So wrestling being an individual sport, it's a little different than volleyball or basketball or football or soccer or whatever it might be, where you're having to kind of work in sync and in tandem with somebody else or a bunch of multiple people and kind of execute a strategy. Obviously, there's a lot of coaching that goes into wrestling. But how has, what am I trying to ask here? Sorry. My train of thought is all over the place and the baby is wiggling. Are there any parallels that you've seen between kind of, for example, tennis? I mean, obviously you're in doubles with a partner, and wrestling, and then some differences from volleyball, kind of being able to make your own decisions. Does that make sense? I feel like that totally rambled. Obviously you have some more autonomy in wrestling to kind of do your thing. How does that differ from a sport like volleyball where it's maybe not totally rigid, but you're running a little bit more of an offense or defense with another team? I don't even know. Dad, maybe you ask something. This baby's all over the place. The words in my head are making sense. Right? In my mind, I'm weaving a tapestry of words, and then it's coming out of my mouth, and the baby is looking at me like I'm a psycho, and she doesn't even speak English.
I have a couple of thoughts. Just
Perfect.
I went and watched you guys last night at that match, and I have not. I watched Maddie wrestle a week ago. I haven't watched Hallie at all prior to that. It's just so interesting, and I think these were unique matches. I don't know, but like starting with Hallie, that I saw your final match there against the girl from Natchez. And I think she came into it. She was pretty amped up, ready to go. I mean, I was going, wow, this is going to be serious. She looks like she's pretty good, pretty quick. And she was. You guys got after it. One thing I loved after you pinned her, the look on her face. She turned around, looked over at her coaches, and just put her hands up. I thought what was going through her mind was, I did everything I could. There's no way I could beat her, kind of thing. I think she was definitely respectfully saying, I just got my butt kicked, is what the look on her face was. That was so much fun to see. And then there's Maddie's match where was she from? She from Zilla?
Yeah.
She must have been from Zilla. I don't know if she expected to win. She did not look near as intense, kind of thing. And she gave it her best shot, but just flat out overwhelmed. I mean, you threw her down a couple of times. I think she was that second time, she was just like, oh, screw this. I don't want to go through this anymore. It was just fun to watch. I was so impressed with you guys.
Going into those matches, do you feel like, can you pick up on body language of the other girls? Do you ever see them and they're like, okay, this girl seems really confident? Or can you like pick up like some mental weakness in them sometimes? Like my dad was saying there, it sounded like the girl Maddie was wrestling was kind of like, I don't know about this. And then that cheese girl seemed pretty pumped up. How often is it that there's kind of that, body language before the match that you guys pick up on? Or do you just totally push that out of your mind and try not to pay attention?
I like to know who I wrestle, and I wrestled the Natchez girl before, and I wrestled her in our Christmas tournament in the finals, and I beat her also.
Okay.
Really?
I think Carlos was saying she thought she was going to go and beating Hallie this time. Like, that was kind of her mentality. It was like, I'm going to go and beating her.
And I get told I'm the white 11-year-old girl a lot. And so no one really expects me to win. And so it's kind of fun.
It's like the best watching Hallie beat up on all these like senior girls who've been wrestling for years because she just gets in there and like beats them up and they look at their coaches and they're crying like, I don't know. And then Hallie's just like, yeah, I don't know. It's like the best to watch.
Hallie is happy-go-lucky too. It is fun.
That is funny.
But usually, I don't know. I like to know what I'm up against. Probably is not the best because I can psych myself out. But For the most part, I don't know. I feel like you can usually tell when someone looks a little, like, nervous,
Mm-hmm.
or if they're just, like, shorter
Yeah.
Stubbier.
and stubbier.
Shorter and stubbier.
Usually gives me a
To put it
confidence boost.
kindly.
Me too. Especially the girls in my weight class, like they're either like a beast, like you look intimidated, like you'd be scared to see them. Like the girls in my weight class, they got tattoos all up their legs, and they just look intimidating. Like I wrestled this one girl from Kennewick, she had tattoos on. If you have beats, that usually means you're good, or you should be good, because you got beats on, you're like locked in. Like just usually the good girls have beats on. Like Sharon Arroyo, she has beats, she's good.
I feel like you can like definitely pick out the good wrestlers just of like how they hold themselves and like what they do before matches, and you can definitely tell like the
It's kind of a stereotype a little bit.
yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Is there any trash
So you
talking
guys
ever
have-
out there? Sorry, we talked
What's
about
Sorry,
that?
what was that?
Go for it, Dad.
Do you guys have any intimidating tactics that you use? Do you like stare down the other girl?
Do the little like
what's your mentality going in
slit
that
your
way?
throat motion, like
Yep.
Usually, I don't know. I get told I just look intimidating, like just my natural wrestling face. I guess looks intimidating because I guess girls go up to our coaches and say like, "Roll girls, you just look so mean," and like, I guess we just intimidate a lot of girls. So
Nice.
I don't know if we
Good.
do anything. It's just like how we are. We just look intimidating, and that scares girls. But I
is
don't know,
there
it's hard
I
to-
just like going for
what's that? Say that again, Hallie. Sorry, I couldn't hear you.
I like going to the match looking like I'm an 11-year-old girl because I catch them off guard.
Yep.
It's really
there you
fun.
go. That's good. I like that.
Okay.
Walk in like you're just gonna be this sweet little 11-year-old girl, and then man, unleash the beast.
yeah.
Oh boy.
It's
Do you,
also interesting because in some tournaments you have to stand by the girls.
oh really?
So sometimes they'll like try to talk to you and they'll try to be all nice. I think for some girls they try to like get in your head and act like they're your friend and everything, but they're really not. So I don't know. I guess for some girls that's kind of they're like trying to be all nice and you're just like, I'm just trying to focus. Like I don't want to be friends with you before we go and like basically fight each other.
Yeah. I'm about to have to freaking
Yep.
throw you around on the mat. Thank you. Is there any trash talk ever when you're out there on the mat? Like, are you? Yeah. No. Trying to catch your breath the whole time. Probably not a lot of talking going on.
Lauren James has said she'll commentate her matches while she's wrestling to psych the girls out.
I could see that. Lauren, yeah, I could see that. Let's just put it that way.
She's fun to watch wrestle. If you go out, you should go watch her wrestle.
That's the thing. I'd love to. I feel like this year, I've especially, maybe it's just because I haven't been out as much, but I've wanted to go to so many more sporting events and I just haven't been able to. But I'm hoping I can go see some here.
Yeah. With that said, when are your next ones?
We wrestle in Quincy Saturday.
And then we'll have our sub-regionals tournament in Warden and our regionals tournament in Granger and our state tournament.
So that
In
sub
Tacoma.
regionals is when next Saturday, not day after tomorrow, but the Saturday after.
Yeah, next
In
Saturday.
And then do you have to qualify from there to regionals?
I think you do have. I don't know.
Yeah, so that's when it kind of, but over these next few weeks, it starts to narrow down a little bit to kind of getting towards state, if that's right. Okay, cool. Awesome.
Yeah.
And then, so you'd have sub-regionals, regionals, and then state. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Cool. Are you guys pretty hopeful, pretty optimistic about making it to state? Is it going to be a battle for you? I mean, it's going to be a battle no matter what. That's not to minimize anything. Obviously, it's going to be a dogfight no matter what. But, yeah, what do you guys think? Are you pretty hopeful to make it?
Yeah, well, in our league or our district, 11 girls make it to state in each weight class.
Okay.
And so Carlos was saying you just have to win like 2 matches
Nice.
to make like top 11. So
Cool.
I feel like it'd be harder to lose to not make it than to make it.
You have to try to lose to not make it
Okay.
to state.
Okay, cool. That's good to know. So you have to like win 2 before you lose like 4 times. And I guess that makes sense if you combine in all the smaller schools with us, because we have a lot of those in our district here in District 5. Because what's their names for the other sports, like for basketball and football, and those the other teams in our district that are 1A play like a B schedule. So that's cool. We get a lot of berths out of our thing for wrestling. That's awesome. Just trying to look here real quick at some of our other notes if I can, because my wife got the baby, so she's not wiggling as much with me holding her here. Let's see.
Are we close to wrapping up?
Yeah, probably closer. I'm just going to look if there's anything else here.
I'm curious, Maddie, what are your plans after high school?
Oh, yeah.
Do you know?
I'm just waiting on the BYU Provo. We hear back in like 2 weeks, I think, to go there. And I'm interested in landscape design and interior design. I want to do something kind of along those lines. And BYU I doesn't offer that. So if I don't get accepted, kind of got to switch gears and find something else.
Huh.
Yeah.
Do you have any interest in playing sports? I mean, are you pursuing that or just kind of like, I've had enough?
Yeah, I'm thinking about playing rugby right now for BYU Provo if I get in.
Really?
So I'd want to go try out for rugby. That's kind of what I'm planning on right now. We'll see if I end up doing it. But yeah, my aunt did rugby, and I just thought it'd be kind of cool to try.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome. And they come up and play. Correct me if I'm wrong here, Deb, but don't they play Central sometimes? Like come up to Ellensburg?
Yeah.
The BYU team?
I think so, yeah.
That would be awesome. Okay, cool. Yeah, those landscape design and interior design. So I went to BYU. I mean, I've probably said that about a billion times on here. I think it's the only team I talk about. But I knew a few people that were in those majors. The landscape design major is like crazy at BYU. It's awesome. And there's like a bunch of different things you can go into. Like I had a friend who went into that and then somehow specialized in AstroTurf. That was like his specialty. And he's like, I'm going to go work for the Field Turf company or whatever. So many different avenues you can go. So that's awesome. We're excited to hear when you get in. I'm very confident in your ability to do it because I had you as an 8th grader, so I obviously know that. Yes, really smart. Definitely in the top. Hallie and Maddie both, and Tice, definitely in my some of my top middle school students, and that's not biased, by the way, just because we're related. Like definitely awesome students. They went through my class, so they're probably like, "Yeah, it wasn't that hard, dude. Not that hard of a class." But let's see. Well, let's hear just kind of some more fun questions here to wrap things up. Where are your favorite place to go eat after a game or a wrestling match, whatever, for a sport, right? You're on the bus coming home or with your parents or whatever after a game. Where's your favorite place to stop and eat?
Mine is McDonald's. I love McDonald's.
Is there a specific McDonald's in a certain town or just in general wherever? Because we often stop in a lot of the same places. Is there a specific one or is it just any McDonald's will do for you?
The McDonald's in College Place is pretty good. It has cool tables.
The McDonald's in College Place. It has a play place in it, so you can go run around in the playground, and people will really believe the 11-year-old girl thing. Maddie, let's hear from you. Your favorite place to stop and eat after a game?
I like Panda Express. I think it's pretty solid.
Go. Good
Go
pick.
there a lot.
You can tell a lot about people by where they pick. I'm McDonald. I just don't know. That's as a coach where I was like, hey, where do you guys want to stop and eat? And the kids that say McDonald's, I'm like, what? What are you talking about?
Yeah, I wasn't picturing Hallie as a McDonald's girl.
Yeah.
That's funny.
But that's good. It's good you enjoy it. What's your order from McDonald's, Hallie? Chicken nuggets?
Well, currently it's a $5 meal.
There you
get
go.
That's a pretty solid meal.
You
And
get a
probably
little of
like
everything,
the
right?
mango pineapple smoothie thing.
Jeez, the mango pineapple smoothie. You're going all out. Now, do you order it all at once, or do you wait till the bus is about to leave to order your mango pineapple smoothie like all the boys do? Where I'm like, we're getting on the bus. I'm like, where is everybody? They're like, oh, they all went to order ice cream. I'm like, you can't even take the ice cream on the bus. What are we doing? We got to go. But the boys don't care. The boys are like, let's be out all night. It's a Tuesday night, and we're in freaking Okanagan, and let's be out till midnight and 2 a.m. Like, well, some of us have a job and a family at home, and make it 3 a.m. Who cares? Okay. Any more questions for him, Dad? What do you think? I'm just enjoying it. I probably have a ton of stuff. I'm going to think of a bunch of stuff after this, and we'll have to do a part 2 episode here in a couple weeks, probably. But,
Yep. After we'll have to do one in a few weeks. We'll follow up after the state tournament and see.
Yeah, and we'll get your mom on. We'll get Tice. We'll get Kylie on. We'll get the whole family in here and get some real perspective. Yep. Maybe we'll do like a big in-person one or something with everybody. We'll get Brian and Connie on there. We'll get the grandparents' perspective too.
Yeah, you guys have been great. Thank you.
Yes, thank you guys for coming on. We really appreciate it. This has been good because sometimes the past few weeks we've kind of been stretching. We're like, oh man, what else do we talk about? Corbin can always talk about himself for a little while, so that's good. We can always Corbin. What are your top 10 favorite pictures of yourself, Corbin? And we'll get a good 20 minutes out of that. But this has been really good having some nice, humble athletes here on our podcast, and we're excited for your guys' journey here to districts, or regional, sub-regionals, state, spring sports. But thanks, guys, for coming on. We really appreciate you.
Yeah. Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Okay, awesome. Well, we'll be back on. We'll post this episode. I'm going to post it tonight, so you guys can go ahead and listen real quick. Hopefully, you like listening to the sound of your own voice. I don't like my own voice that much when I listen back to these, but you guys have been awesome. We appreciate you. We will see everybody next week. Maybe we'll have another guest. Maybe we won't. I don't know what's going to happen. But Hallie, Maddie, Mark, thanks for coming on. We appreciate you guys. We will see everybody next week.